They're all here. Hello, my friends. It is I, Alphinius Goo, with the magnificent Casey Rift. We are sort of sitting in the shade because we decided we would sit outside. I really want to show this to you because it is beautiful. Yes, it is.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Beautiful. All right, Mandy's going to do it. Go, Mandy, go. Just go slowly so you don't make people want to get sick.
No dizziness.
It is, like, genuinely the most beautiful convention venue. There's Adam, who's on all of our tech. Over here, we have Katie, who will be on here shortly. Hello, friends. Oh, let me put it so we can see the comments. How about that?
Perfect. You can't see the comments, but if you see the comments.
There we go. Okay.
So anyway, we're here. We are at GaryCon. Magnificent, yes, everybody.
Yeah, magnificent, absolutely.
And just for the people who don't know, because there are many who do, but Matt is a dear friend, and his moniker in the gaming world is Casey Rift. He's very involved with GaryCon and Gax Inc. and
Gax Inc. Yeah,
Gax Inc. Excuse me. So go ahead and give him a little rundown.
Sure. Well, good morning. I'm Matt Everhart. I am the, operations director for Gygax Inc. So most of the content and creativity not creativity. That's not the word. That's not all me, but a lot of the stuff that comes out of that shop passes through my fingers, I suppose. So I also own Fat Goblin Games, if you're familiar, and a company, we call ourselves mercenaries, but basically work for hire in the gaming industry, a company called Prater and Riffs. So I'm all over the map.
I know that.
Yeah.
I actually own some things from Fat Goblin Games, as you know. Yes. So,
yes.
And you were kind of involved in the planning of this convention, yes?
I'm actually more of a guest this year than I have been in previous years.
Really?
But yeah, for the last since about 2017, 18, yeah, we've been heavily involved in the planning. This year, we've got a very excellent cadre of staff now, and a lot of that's been taken off my plate.
Yeah, we correspond with them, and obviously very helpful, and it's wonderful. And but just give them a little idea. Does the planning for this really begin almost the day after the next convention is over? You take a little time off and then you go?
Yeah, so we'll have an after action review on Monday.
That's
morning.
A military term, after action review.
I actually almost said AAR, which is
an AAR, yeah.
So we'll do that on Monday, and then everybody gets about a week, and then Josh Pop, who's the convention coordinator, he'll start pinging people.
So I really think you need to do
next week.
You need to do an AAS, which is kind of the ass, right? Because you have to get after activity sleep or after action sleep first, and then you do the AAR. Yes.
Yeah, right. So we'll do the AAS first, and then.
I'm glad I've got something into the vernacular right now. So Matt is also a colonel in the United States military. Thank you for your service, sir.
Appreciate your support. Thank you.
And
that's my real job.
Yeah, we all have a real job, and we try to do all this on the side. And this is why we have no sleep and look raggedy. Well, you don't look raggedy. Right. You look great. I look raggedy all the time. So how long is the real intense period when they're trying to plan this convention? What goes on?
It simmers until probably, I'd say around August is really when we start, particularly for products, because if we're going to get products made, that's when we really start to get those.
Like the Grogu plushies.
I
wish I had a Grogu plushie to show.
I wish I should have brought one.
Dang it.
I'm sure that there's been a couple pictures posted in the den.
Yeah, well, the Grogu plushie is very cute. Yeah. All right, so you have to plan all that.
So that planning starts in around August, and then the meetings start picking up about Thanksgiving time, and then after the first of the year, people realize, oh my God, there's only 3 months left. It gets really frenetic after that.
Hair goes on fire, as they say. People are running around. My God.
So for January, February, and then the end of this month, it's hair on fire.
But
I don't really have any left to burn. So
I'm running out to myself. So it's just if the guy mine goes on fire, it's a little tiny burn. It's not a lot of flame. Yes. Remember what was it? Whose beard? Was it Gimli's beard who got burnt in the Lord of the Rings? Right?
Was it Gimli?
Was it Gimli?
Yeah.
Who had the little dragon? No, it was not the dragon. It was Gandalf, because the little dragon didn't it spurted. Come on, Mandy.
What are you talking about?
So
burning beards.
Remember the burning beard? There was a little dragon
I think you're thinking about Hagrid from Harry Potter.
It's Hagrid from Harry Potter. Yes, it was Hagrid who got the little dragon spurt in it. Yeah. What was the dragon's name? Norbert?
Oh, that's right.
Norbert, yes, Norbert, the little dragon. Oh, yeah. Norbert, he's so sweet. Okay, go.
And then I have a question for myself. What has been the best thing that has happened so far this year?
Do you have an opinion?
I have a number of them, but you get to go first because
well,
you're the guest, you know.
Sure. Last night was fantastic with the Chaosium. So this year is the 50th anniversary of Chaosium, who are the creators of Call of Cthulhu RPG, most famously. And so they're a big sponsor, big participant in GaryCon this year. And they've had a party last night down in the lobby, and that was a lot of fun. I think that was probably my highlight so far. My perspective is a little different because a lot of these folks. We were just talking about Keith Baker, for example, a few minutes ago. I know Keith fairly well at this point, and so when I get to see them, it's fantastic. But it's not necessarily a highlight for me. I don't know if that's bad to say.
Well, it's your friends, right?
It's old hat.
Yeah, it's their old hat. I'm going to tell them to sit down. In fact, I'm going to play this. Mandy, we need to play this portion of the stream. We need to put it on there so we can.
You need to go find Keith Baker.
Yes, you do.
He's right inside.
He is. He's right there. Yeah, he's right behind me.
Like right behind us. Like I saw Ed Greenwood play.
Yep.
Like behind this window in here, there's some legends.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they wander around the convention, and people can come up and speak with them. And
it's magnificent.
That's what's so special about this convention is there's not this wall. I feel like between some of these great people and people who love them.
100%, absolutely. Yep. My kids met Ed. I was able to bring both my kids this year, my two oldest kids this year, to the convention. They met Ed Greenwood. I just had breakfast with Jason Charles Miller, and so from that perspective, that doesn't necessarily stand out for me. But the party last night was great. We've started the Gygax Society this year for all of the content that we produce out of Gygax Inc., and that's been going great. So that's been a very, very pleasant highlight for me.
And tonight we get to do the charity auction, yes?
Charity auction is at 3 o'clock, that's right.
Or this afternoon, excuse me, yes.
Well, it's 3 hours. It's a long auction. It's 3 to 6. And then we also have, at 1 o'clock is the cosplay contest.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They'll march in there. I remember that. That's pretty cool.
We have a memorial tomorrow morning for Ernie at 9. Yeah, so still a lot of big events to come.
Yes, absolutely. So I got to play in Luke's because we backed the Kickstarter for the most recent, the Wrath of the Sea Lich.
Wrath of the Sea Lich, yep. Yes, that's our conversion of our OS series, which was 3 books. We mashed that into 1 book for Shadowdark.
Yeah. So yes, I got to play Shadowdark for the first time.
Oh, good.
So that was fun.
Good. What did you think?
Great. It's great. Yeah, it reminded me very much of the days of yore. Right.
Why don't you
That's
talk
right.
a little bit about Shadowdark, because I haven't seen that everywhere, but people are very excited about
Kelsey's here too. We should have snagged her. So Kelsey Dion, as the owner of Arcane Library, she started, and actually we've had close ties for almost 10 years now, which is hard to believe. But I think in 2015-16 is when she started the Arcane Library, and that was an online Patreon where she was creating content primarily for 5th edition, and then all that time under the radar, she was developing Shadowdark, entirely her own system. Her purpose or the objective of that was to get the old school feel, but have it modern, have modern mechanics, some modern mechanics in there. And just have that.
Remove some of the old weird complexities, which there were weird complexities.
Yep.
In fact, I was tripping because in the old days when I was just but a lad, the THACO thing and the saving throws, some of the times you're rolling over, right, and some of the times you're rolling under, right?
That's right.
So if you're rolling on your save involving your dexterity, of course the saving throw is under your dexterity, right? But if you're rolling to protect yourself from breath weapon or wand, rod, staff, or wand, right? You have to roll over, right? So it's it turns your little brain, especially at my advanced age. Yes, it turns your little brain. But so for me, running with Galuk was fantastic. It was a great game. Very funny, very fun. A lot of laughing. Some good combats and good intriguing interactions and all of that stuff. It was a highlight for me. I loved running the Tower of Gygax last night. That was
good.
Fun. I was able to achieve the total party kill without totally cheating.
Boy.
Yeah, without cheating.
Congratulations.
Right? They had 2 paths, right? So they could have gone the easy path.
Tell them what
the Tower of Gygax. So apparently they rope in all kinds of these game masters who have some semblance of fame, notoriety, or infamy. Yes, right? This is one of the 3, yes. And so they run a game for 7, 8, 9 players, depending on how many have signed up for that session for 2 hours. In the hall down there, and it's literally out in the open, so lots of people get to watch and all that kind of stuff. It's fun, and you literally get a book about this thick that you can pick any of the encounters. But they told me you didn't have to pay attention to the book; you could make up your own. So I said, okay, I'm good with that. So I went, in keeping with the same, nothing crazy, right? And so they had a path to go north, a path to go west. And the over the top of this one door on the west was the words. It said trust the dark, something like that, right? And so this room, the north room, was the dark room, but it had these weird eyeballs floating around in it. Okay, and then the east room was a long corridor. So what happened was, very impetuously, one of the players stepped into the dark room without doing any trap checking or any kind of reconnoitering or whatsoever. Yes. And the phosphorescent little eyeballs all blew up and almost killed that character. And of course, now they decided that was not dark anymore, so they went the other way, which was the wrong way.
Right.
But if they would have searched for traps, they could have just walked through there and gone the easier path, and maybe some of them would have lived. Instead, it was a wipe.
Are you playing or DMing any games this weekend?
I'm not, mostly because of the Gygax Society. This is the second year we've done it, but this is a little more organized, I guess. So last year we ran 2 tables for the whole weekend, but they were standalone. This year's there's a little more continuity there. So all that to say, I'm managing that, overseeing that, instead of running anything. But once we got this on lock, Kelly Williams is our kind of the lead for that one. As soon as we feel like we're in a good place, I'll start running adventures again.
And Kelly's back from Belgium, right?
He flew all the way in from Belgium.
Yeah, he told me he's having fun out there and enjoying it very, very much. And it is true what Mandy said is this really is a very unusual convention, because at most conventions you're going to meet a few celebrities, if you want to call them that, but people who have had impacts on the game over the years, people who have had the game currently, etc. But here, they really are just everywhere and playing games.
Yep.
And you can literally sit down at a table and find yourself, as Maddie said, sitting across the table from Ed Greenwood, and you're like, "Whoa, that's Ed Greenwood."
Yeah, it's surreal to be walking down the hallway, look in a room, and see Joe Manganiello just playing a game with in a large, in a large open area with 100 other gamers.
Yes. It's really and of course I think part of it is the attraction of the location, right? This is because it is a beautiful place.
It is really beautiful.
It sets you back on the room charges. It's a little aggressive, but it is. It's a high star resort, right? Like a 4-star resort or something like that, or 4-star, 5-star resort.
I imagine.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. Well, Mandy showed you the picture. We're sitting here looking at this. So, okay, so we'll let you go here.
I did see some comments on Thaco. That's.
God.
We're asking about why is Thaco so difficult to understand?
It's not. So I want everybody to understand. For the average human being, right? Once you get used to it, it's not a problem, right?
Yeah. Once you understand it, yeah. Two hit armor class 0.
Yes.
Right.
So, and the only issue is the negative numbers, right? Which then you have to apply the negative numbers. It's a little more mathy, right?
Right.
But the truth of the matter is, it never made sense to me why I never went just right up to like they did with 5th edition, right? Just carry it forward. Don't need to go negative and all that stuff.
Yeah, because your lower AC, lower armor class was better in 2nd edition, so you could go to -10. Armor class was the max.
Yes, was the max -10. Although we didn't play it that way, we let you go past that. We we extended the math, because you get so powerful at the level 15, 18, 16, 20, 24, because you just kept going, right? Because the tables, and so Thaco for a lot of people is like kind of weird, right? Because it intuitively you just think, well, your armor class gets lower, right? Or your armor class, and keeps getting lowered. Why does it have to go to negative numbers, right? Why can't it just be, right? Start at 20 instead of armor class 10, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think that's kind of the problem. But there was a lot of goofiness. I mean, it was.
There was, yeah.
But damn it, they made up something that had never been made up before.
Right.
It's a lot easier to pick on things that
40 years later, 30 years later, yeah, for sure.
But I played AD&D because I remember we played the white box.
Well, AD&D was even not worse, even more
It was more-
obscure because
obscure.
it was just a table. But it was before they came up with the idea of THACO.
Yes.
So it was the DM had a table in the you almost had to have a GM screen.
Yeah, you did.
And you tell him what you rolled, and he's like, he or she is. They look across the table. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and saving.
And then they came up with THACO.
Yeah, saving those were different for fighters and different for dwarves, thieves, excuse me, and all that stuff. And of course, in the white box, it was there were no fighters. There was like you're an elf, right?
Right. You're an elf or a halfling or a dwarf or a human.
Yeah.
Humans could be a couple classes, but
Yep.
if you wanted to play a rogue, I think humans could play a thief. I think. But if you were a halfling, you were definitely a thief.
Yes.
Definitely.
I don't remember exactly, but it was again that was based in war game, right? And they were trying to make a rule set that was a little more war gamey, right? Because role playing sort of, from what I understand, it's, better than most, but it kind of evolved, right? It kind of grew and grew more from the grassroots, so to speak.
Yeah, that's right. So it came from wargaming, came from tabletop, and people got the idea of almost like, well, what is my little guy on the table? What's his story? And what if these guys decided to go over to explore in a cave to find something to improve their odds in the battlefield? And that's kind of came out of chainmail, and that's kind of essentially kind of
because so I played a lot of Avalon Hill. We have in Guys and Gags we have Avalon Hill.
Avalon, yeah.
So I played a lot of war games, and I remember somewhere in the 70s, I think it was the 70s, and somebody in the chat might know this, so we'll see if they get an answer. A box set came out that was called Squad Leader. And so it was like Micro, right? It went to Micro, and I always have wondered in my mind if Squad Leader actually influenced. And there's no mention of it anywhere. There's no discussion of it anywhere. But I know those guys played all those war games much. Yeah. And I just wonder if that's what happened. They sat there and looked at Squad Leader, and they thought, "Whoa, we could do some interesting things here." So who knows? I mean, it's but you would look around and you're like, "What a world," I mean.
Oh, I know, absolutely.
These are our people.
Yeah, it's surreal. It's surreal sometimes.
So Matt, before we let you go, what's next on the horizon for you?
We have several things in the hopper. I'm always juggling 6 balls at once, it seems like. But we have the setting for Alkarim. We're working on that. In fact, if you're here at the convention this week, you can get the Shintufi, preview of that. There's a Shintufi section that'll be in the book. And that's in print here at the convention for sale, but that's going to turn into the whole setting book for Alkarim, which will include basically everything around the Niger Sea, to include my new kingdom, which I'm very proud of, called the Kingdom of Varathar.
Nice.
And if you spell that out, you might be able to make another name out of that. But the Kingdom of Varathar is on the western coast of the Niger Sea, so opposite of Shintufi. So that's the next
now
one.
I'm going to have to play around with Varathar.
And then it
is an anagram, I presume. Yes, not a reversal.
No, not a reversal.
So it is an anagram. See if the chat can get it.
Verethar.
Verethar.
Yeah. So that's probably the next one. But we also have a venture that we played a couple years now here in the Gygax Society, which is called Rogue's Gambit, and that's Luke's Death Trap adventure, which is a whole lot of fun. A whole lot of fun. So we got those two in print, I think.
So what is all about this? Because the Tower of Gygax, of course, was also a death trap. That was the order. In fact, the only way you got to get the T-shirt was to get the stamp. You know that you had to have the stamp. So you had a character sheet that you were given at the beginning, and if you died, they hit you with the stamp. But if you didn't die, they didn't give you the stamp, so you didn't get the T-shirt deal.
Right. No.
So you had to die to get the deal.
I mean, I don't see the problem. It seems legit to me.
And the team that was there, there was 2 ladies and 2 guys, and they were very aggressively calling out for blood. Kill them all. So hey, it's great to see you, my friend.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Hanging out a little bit.
Matt's been on every single GaryCon episode we've ever recorded.
I think that's true.
I'm pretty positive Matt's our GaryCon guest.
You are the go-to.
You are like the veteran.
Well, because you're the heart.
And at Genghis Khan, I was not this year, but the year before.
But you're really genuinely like part of the heart of this whole
Oh, thank
thing
you.
that and help I mean, really, it's just such a wonderful convention.
I know the answer to Verithar, by the way. Ravathair. Yes? Tam Ravathair, yes?
Well, which is also an anagram.
Oh, is that true?
Tam Ravathar.
I didn't know that. Now I have to do some. I didn't. That's not fair to do an anagram of an anagram.
I'm very tricky. Very tricky.
All right. Well, we're going to talk to Katie for a minute. Come on.
Thanks, Matt.
You were welcome.
Matt, have a good day.
You too.
Come on, dear. Come on over here. Hang out with this old guy.
Katie's coming over. Patrick wants to know your position on the deer, the ear.
Okay. So for anybody who doesn't know, so Katie, slide in here a little bit, my dear. You got to be a little closer. There you go.
Better?
That's much better. Yes. And the sun is not getting you. You're comfy?
I'm good.
Okay. We'll introduce you in just a second. So for those who do not know, Lawrence and Iad and Alexander were driving out here. You know about all this.
Oh, yeah, I know.
It's a saga. It's a saga. So they're driving out here, and they got the trailer and the big truck and all of this stuff, and it's all loaded up. And they're coming along at 2:30 in the morning. And so 2:30 in the morning, they're on this road. They can't see. There's no lights. It's like a country road, right?
Mm-hmm.
Country road, that kind of thing. So another car is coming.
Hi.
So we have two nice folks who stuck around to be kind to us.
Yeah. Well, now only one. It's David and Randy. Wait. No, we have more. Look at this. We're starting to get comments. 37 people.
You all
We
are
like
marvelous.
doubled our audience.
Adam, come here, Adam.
Yeah.
You need to come here because you have to understand what just went on here. So I'll finish the story of the deer in a moment. So Adam is like what happened was all of the stuff was sitting in the sun.
Don't touch it.
I had nothing to do with this problem, okay? But Adam is rushing around and changing chords and doing all this stuff, right? We were watching, right, Katie?
Adam's a networking genius.
Networking genius. Yes. Anyway, so somehow we were able to restore the connection. Take the bumper. Very nice. Well done. Everyone give Adam a little golf clap.
And now Adam's leaving to go change
leaving.
over.
Leaving.
Hi.
It's
So
okay to
listen,
cover me.
here's the deal. We are running this weekend 68 games for GaryCon.
That's a lot.
And me and Adam are EOing it completely. So not only is he networking genius, but he's about to go switch over the GMs to make sure they have everything they need to run their next game.
We had a
Hello.
little technical difficulty, Steven, so we're going to finish with Katie. Can you give us like 10 minutes and just enjoy the sun?
Oh, we have another guest coming.
Oh,
Yes.
We have
Okay.
guests upon guests. Yes, it's Gary Kahn. Yes. All right, Katie. So tell us about everything. Tell us about the group and what you do in the stream and about Gary Kahn and everything you're enjoying at this marvelous locality.
So I'm the social media manager for the Zyathé, and they're just
We have rated them more than a few times, and you have rated us more than a few times.
yeah.
Yes?
Anytime that we get a chance. We are just like this sort of conglomeration of people from all over the world. We've got a bunch of Canadians that are here. There's a couple of them in the room behind us right now.
Damn Canadians.
I know, right? They're just everywhere. A couple of people from all over the States, and then we've got a couple of people from like England and stuff like that. So we are the blob.
And you do?
We do long-term campaign streams, and during October, we do what's called Spooktober, which was this fever dream that my partner in crime, Affy, had, where she basically sent me a message at 2 a.m, was like, hey, Spooktober. And that was all I got. And I'm like, what does that even mean? She's like, I don't know, figure it out. So I'm like, okay. So I started asking around, and I was like, hey, do you guys want to come run some games? And we ended up with like 13 different GMs that all said yes, one of which was Todd Stashwick. We almost had a heart attack when that happened.
And you raised money.
Yep.
Right.
We raised money for Extra Life, which is a charity that does stuff for children's hospitals all over the U.S. and Canada. They help
It's a marvelous charity.
Yes, they are so great. They do like entertainment for kids who are stuck in the hospital long term, and they also provide like medical equipment and testing and anything that kids would need while they're in the hospital. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
We've been doing that. This will be year 4 now for us.
Okay, so tell us what you're thinking about Gary Kahn.
I love GaryCon. That's my favorite thing in the world. I love coming here because it means I get to see all my friends in person.
Yeah. Are you getting bleary-eyed?
A little bit.
I am bleary-eyed. Yes.
Okay. I'm going to go do the changeover for the GMs because I figured it would be more helpful if something goes wrong for Adam to be here.
That's the right move.
Yes. So
Yes.
I will see you in a little bit.
Of course,
Mwah!
the computer's sitting in the sun right now. You know,
Yeah.
it's over. Look,
Yeah,
you can
right.
see the steam coming off. All right, so do you mind if I finish this?
Go
little
for
tale?
it.
All right. So Katie knows all about this because she's pretty active in the den, so she watches all this stuff. So they're driving along. I was talking about the deer incident. They're driving along in the truck. Another car is coming towards them with the lights on. 2:30 in the morning. Can't see anything because the light's shining. And then as soon as the car passes, like right in front of them, are 2 deer.
Oh no.
Mama deer and little baby Bambi. Poor little Bambi. Poor little Bambi. Poor little Bambi. So, it was not good. There was damage to the truck and more damage to poor little Bambi. And it's really not right to be laughing because it really is sad and tragic. But
If we don't laugh about it, then we cry.
I know that's true.
So.
It's true. I felt really bad at first because, you know, I mean, either way, it would have been terrible because Bambi all alone would have been done anyway, right?
Mhm.
And at least now Mama can go have another baby, so that's a good thing. But anyway, so little Bambi got plastered, as they say, and Chet Minton put Bambi into a gelatinous cube.
Yep.
Yes, poor little Bambi. And there's deer skeletons all over the place and undead deer showing up in the den and all. You all are heartless bastards.
I think Lauren said yesterday that the deer started it. So
It's all the deer's fault.
Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, everyone was fine, which we thank God for. You know, that's a marvelous thing that they did not get harmed, and because it could have. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
a missed steer in that situation. You know, you don't have an option because you have a trailer hanging on the back with, you know, some 1,000 pounds, 1,500 pounds in it, and the potential for turning over and all that stuff. So, so anyway, that's the deer story, right?
yes.
So I agree with Mandy. What's your favorite thing?
Ooh, so far. Honestly, my game with Austin yesterday has been my favorite so
Austin's
far.
great.
Yeah. He was a really good GM. He was super kind to me and yeah, it was great.
And you played the darkness.
The one where you go down in a giant hole in the ground.
Yeah, darkness and gems.
Yes.
Yes, very good. Yes, and end up with the Oculix at the bottom.
I played with the same character that I played with last year, actually, when I did the one that's out in the garden.
Yeah,
So-
the Ghost Stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Ghost
Yep.
Stone. Very fun. Yeah,
So-
very, very good. Well, Austin is fantastic. Yes, and we love him dearly. And Katie, my dear.
Yes,
For a little
of
bit and all of that stuff. Anybody you want to do a shout out to?
Well, Affie is in there with Keith Baker right now. She's losing her mind.
How fun.
And then Jeremy and Ryan from Canadian Dice, because we love him. He's here. He's great. He's been collecting famous people like Pokemon cards. It's great. So that's what he does when he comes here. He was like taking pictures with the Big Show the other day. He
Yeah.
was out there. It was great.
Yeah, it was fun.
So
My dear, appreciate you.
Yes.
Have a wonderful day, and
Yeah.
we'll see you at the party tonight.
there's a party tonight.
Isn't it Stefan's heavy metal? You know, wah, 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 wah. Come on, Steven. Isn't tonight Stefan's? You don't know either.
I have no idea.
Adam?
Nobody told me.
I'm not a party dude.
I'm almost sure that tonight is Stefan's heavy metal.
We need to text Lawrence and ask him.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I'm right. But yes, find out, Adam. Look on the little thing. You got the little thing.
I give it to Mandy so she'd have communications.
Oh.
So Mandy's thing is in front of you.
Okay.
It's currently running the stream. And mine is with Mandy so she has the ability to call people.
All right.
There you go.
Have a great day. I'll see you
Yeah.
tonight. Come on, Steven. Come over here and talk to these crazy people.
You'll be in the sun.
Yeah, well, you'll have nice warm
Oh.
legs.
It is, yeah. It's actually nicer out here.
Oh, it's beautiful. Look at this.
I thought it was going to be cold.
So slide on in here a little bit. There you go. So
There you
so all right. So tell the team first. We're going to talk about Gary Con and all that stuff, but first about you because you do some amazing things, and I want our folks to know what's going on.
I'm Stephen Glicker from Roll from Combat,
Yes, you are.
and we do a lot.
lot.
We do, 5e and Pathfinder, and we actually have a huge Shadow Dark Kickstarter coming out this summer, either May or June. We're still figuring it out. That's going to be 3 box sets with just classes and monsters and the monster part system and spells and new races. It's gigantic. It's going to have like 600 monsters, 12 new classes, new spells, the whole monster part system where you can make all your gear from slain monsters like Monster Hunter, which it's actually taken from our existing books, but we're doing it for Shadow Dark. So we do a lot. I have a weekly show on YouTube every Wednesday at 3. Been doing that for years. I was the one
And a good audience.
Pretty
Big
audience.
Very good audience.
Pretty big audience.
Don't be modest.
It's it's a pretty solid audience. They come every week. Well, we get a lot of guests, and we're the ones who broke the OGL a day before Linda.
You did?
Linda Codega. We broke it, and then no one believed us, and then Linda wrote the article the next day, and then everyone believed us because we had the same information. She got it the same time we did. It's just that she had to wait a day to publish it. So, and then that's basically it.
Can I say something about that real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Have you ever seen? I mean, I have seen it, right? I've seen, but have you ever seen a groundswell like that
No.
really turned
No.
the entire mind of a corporation and literally got some people fired? Some very
More than
high-up
some.
people, yeah.
Yeah, no, because I figured it out because I actually talked about this when this happened. Because the closest I ever saw was probably like a religious war, and the reason is because these were people's core beliefs and core. It would be the same as if I said to you like you can never have. Imagine you loved hot dogs, and it's like you can never have a hot dog again. And it's like, what do you mean you can never have a hot dog again? It's like you can't control it, but somehow they could. And it's like suddenly this core belief, this core value of your existence. And for this, think about it. These people who play games, I mean, especially people here. I mean, this is something that is a core value of what they do.
It's part of their soul. It's
literally part of their
life.
soul.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's literally part of their soul and their lives. And it was being taken away, which they didn't even think was humanly possible. And it actually was. And people went insane.
Stephen, think about this for a minute, okay? I really, so my day job is marketing, right? You know that.
No, I didn't know that. Actually.
Oh, yeah, so my day
Okay.
job is marketing. And I've had a pretty storied career. I don't even have a British accent. My real name's Cam. Most people who watch this stream know that. So,
Yes.
But I looked at this and I actually did a few videos, which is the most viewed videos I've ever done. Which,
me too.
it was ridiculous, and I tried to present more the business perspective because everybody was angry, and I know you do. I know what you do. And I tried to talk about why would this decision be made and all of that kind of stuff. And I thought it was a very poor decision because when you ponder the explosion of D&D, everybody says, "Oh, it's 5th edition." It was 5th edition, right? It was all that stuff. 2014, right? Stuff that was already building. It was already building, but 2014 they did 5th edition, but I believe that more important to the explosion of D&D was the OGL. It was the most important thing.
Oh yeah.
And every one of us had a friend somewhere who was creating something who was going to get destroyed by that.
Oh yeah.
So not only are you messing with us, you're messing with our friends and people who we care about, who are some people who are making $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a year on their game business, which is what helped make their life. And so, you get, but I want to say something that I do believe. I feel like there's a change in the culture at Wizards. I feel like there is some turning. Have you seen this?
Sort of.
Well, it's a big ship. You know that, right?
Well, actually, I've been talking. Well, last night, I won't say who, but I was playing games last night with some core WotC people, and we were talking about that. And I was saying it seems like if you're with the core group, you seem to be okay. Like, you probably won't get fired. And I mean, the core group is the people like making the actual game content of the adventures.
Yes.
And if you're off on one of the side tangents of doing like the VTT or doing something else, you're probably in trouble or can be fired or let go. Because the people, actually, the core people making the core game, those guys should be okay. And from what
they had to kill Sigil. I mean, it was so. From what I heard, it was. Y'all, you better tell them about Sigil and what was going on, because some people might not know. That's a very interesting thing.
Well, Sigil, I didn't even cover it yet because I was traveling when it got canceled.
Oh, so you and I get to do a coverage right now. This is magnificent. You have heard it here first. Okay, that's not true.
Well, I didn't. Well, this always happens. So whenever I travel, there's always big news. It's actually a running joke, and sure enough, like Sigil's canceled. I was like coming here, so I didn't get to cover it. But I was talking to Professor DM.
I haven't seen him yet. I keep looking for him.
He's not here.
Oh, that's right.
He has to work. So he and I. So I told Mark. Mark covered it on the show. So he said what I was going to say on the show, and then Professor did his show, and he and I were talking. He actually called me that night, and he said, "Did you hear about this?" And I was like, "No." where's your source? And then he showed me, I forgot who the one of the YouTubers had an inside knowledge. And then I was like, possibly. And then once it got confirmed, then obviously. But Sigil was their 3D VTT.
You know what I
got
got to do? I got to do one thing before you keep going.
Yeah.
So Mike Dunn is a good friend of mine at Gaming Jones, and Mike told me some time ago, he says they're going to kill it.
I heard now everyone's coming up and telling me that they knew 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like people here are telling me, oh, they knew 2 weeks ago it was dying.
Yeah.
So
people are talking.
Yeah, and they actually said, I won't say who, but they were like, I was going to call you and tell you. I'm like, well, why didn't you?
Yeah, why didn't you call me?
He's like, well, it's like, I didn't really want it. I was like, well, just in case I was wrong. But a lot of people have been telling me they knew 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And in fact, when it was released 3 weeks ago, I said they did it as a tax write-off, which I guarantee they did, because if you look at the tax, what they've been doing is they've been slowly using the sale of E1 as a tax write-off over several quarters. I think they're running out of what they can write off. I think it's actually done. I think they've written off all of E1. And so they need to constantly be writing off taxes so they don't pay taxes. And so when I saw that and I did the math, I'm like, I guarantee, and I said this weeks ago on my show, it's like, I guarantee this is a tax write-off, why they released it now. And I guarantee it is, because they probably will be able to write off. It'll be interesting when we see the next quarter. I'll say it's anywhere between 30 to 50 million they're going to write off.
Well, I mean, they laid off 30 programmers.
Well, they laid off 30 programmers, but keep in mind they've been developing this for 4 years.
I know, it's a long time.
So they'll be able to write off they're going to be able to take all the costs up to that point, up to a certain amount, and they'll be able to write that off, and then they'll spread it out over a couple of quarters. So
Sigil was
Sigil was their 3D platform, and the thing is that here's the thing: is at the time it was a very good idea, and it seemed like a very good idea because it looks good. I mean, I've used it; it was pretty good. It looked good. They really thought everything was going to go digital. Obviously, everyone they brought in was from either Microsoft or Amazon. They brought in all these heavy digital people.
Digital people, yes.
And from everything when I've been talking to, they've been running it like a digital shop. They've not been running like a book publisher or a game publisher. So it all makes sense. And then they look at it, they go, oh yeah, we could turn this. And that was the whole reason the OGL happened, is because they wanted to control everything.
Because they had to own IP.
Right. They need to own the full IP. They need to own everything, and then this way they can turn it into a marketplace.
Yes.
Which what Sigil was being. Actually, Sigil was just going to be a marketplace, and that's really what Sigil was. Like Sigil, it was like, oh, it's a 3D VTT. Actually, no, it was actually a marketplace that just happened to be a 3D VTT because they thought that was the best way to get in, and also they would be able to work on iPads. It was going to work on iPhones. It was going to work on on OS X. It was going to work on Windows. It was going to work on everything because it was using Unreal Engine, and that's the reason they used Unreal Engine, because it can work on everything. The problem was as soon as they did this. So my background, my day job was I built Fortune 500 websites, but I also have background work with Blizzard. Video games is my background, as well as marketing with Fortune 500. So all this internet advertising. So that's my background. And as soon as they did that, I'm like, okay, I know what it takes to do 3D modeling. And it is, I mean, we're talking like Foundries here and Roll20s here, and then like a 3D VTT is like the ceiling. Like it is leagues magnitude more complex. You know, you can't just throw a dragon in there. You actually have to model it and then animate it and then see it and then make sure there's no holes. I won't go into the process.
No, but that's true.
There's like
all
this
of that
whole
stuff.
process.
If you think about anybody who's making, let's to break it down. Harry, if you're in the chat, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Harry's a friend of ours who does those. Uh-oh. Did we just drop again?
Good morning.
Possibly.
Oh, no, there we are.
Yes.
There we go.
Adam quickly fixes it. Did you see that? That was impressive. Yes.
Yeah, all he did was he moved the computer. Here, I'll do that. Oh, there we go. We fixed it.
But if you're thinking about how it is to just make one sculpt.
Oh, I know.
And they have to go all the way around it. And you're right, no holes. They
Yep.
can't have the leg falling off, all of that kind of stuff. And now you have to do
And you have to know the number of polygons so that it doesn't crash the computer. Like there's so much you need to do. Now, AI and automation could do a lot of that now. It's gotten a lot faster, but it's still a lot of work. And to get this done, there's actually 3 steps. All right, this is exclusive. I was going to go through this on my show, but I'll go through it on this show.
You are going to all 50 people.
I know, all
Oh,
25 people. 25 people. No, but here, so when you build a 3D platform, there's 3 things. First, once the platform is built, take a long time, and then you need to update it again. And then you need to actually then build content.
Yes.
And so that's all the walls, all the monsters, all the dungeons, everything. And that takes forever.
Yeah.
And then you have to build the tools that allows people to actually create content
And manipulate. All that
right.
stuff, yes.
So all 3 of those have to be done. And right now, if you see, imagine like 3 that's at 100%. What was released in Sigil, it's like 30%. You
Yeah.
know, all 3
Yeah.
of those are like barely done. And I guarantee they looked at it and go, how far are we? It's like, we're like 30% with everything. It's like, okay, you spent tens of millions of dollars, years of development, and you're 30% done.
Yeah,
They
you
go,
got another
yes.
7-8 years.
And
to
they're
get
like,
there.
forget it. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is way too complex. And the exact same thing if you use Foundry or Roll20 or any of these, they all do that. Think
Yes.
about it. But the secret and why you really have to get the developer tools done is because then you have everyone else create the content for you.
Correct.
And they realized, wow, this is going to suck because 3D is so complex. So we're going to be stuck doing all the content, not other people. And again, at the time, using the video game model, where this really isn't that big a deal because they do this on Battlegrounds, they do this on, they do this on a million video games. Like they have to create the 3D content, but these games also have $50 to $100 million budgets.
Yes.
And they even if the budget was $30 million, that's way too much.
Yeah.
And what they've been secretly doing very quietly is they've been putting all the games into D&D Beyond.
Yes.
And it's very easy. So to put a game into D&D Beyond, it's very, very simple. They'll take it. It's put into the D&D Beyond using data entry, so anyone can do it.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a couple months. It's done. They sell it. Wizards gets their cut. The people who get it get their cut. Everyone's happy, and then they can actually forget about it. They don't really even need to update it that much.
Right.
Just the characters. They're just we're planning on doing. They're actually doing. They're doing it through D&D Beyond. And if you see it, they keep doing more and more D&D Beyond content. Like they just released 1985's game, which it's not even out yet. It's only as a PDF, and they released it on D&D Beyond before the book even came out. So I saw that the other day. I was like, okay, they're really cranking it up.
Yeah.
So they're going to get everyone. I mean, I know my stuff's going to eventually get in there. I want to be your stuff's going to probably get they're going to everyone. They're going to every single third party they can find because to them. First, they're smart. They didn't give up, and they decided, you know what? Let's just join. Like, can't beat them, join them.
They bought Beyond, right? Which was a
Beyond.
good move. I think that was a good move.
Yes. But if you go way back, the whole reason they changed D&D was to buy Beyond.
Correct. But the thing is, what I always said was that to me was not necessary in my mind. Right?
They didn't have to.
They didn't have to, right?
No.
Because the fact of the matter is that they're. In marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their market share is still ridiculous.
Yeah.
Their market share is so enviable from most businesses, right? And that's why it's such a hugely profitable section of Hasbro and all of that kind of stuff. Maybe not so much this year with the write-offs, but who knows, And you look at this thing and you're like, why do you want to slay your fatted calf to try to get it all back? Right? You have let this out already. You have all these people creating for you, what you just said, content being created for you on your behalf. You have to pay nothing for it, and you get a piece of everything that gets sold. I still do not understand that decision process. I've tried to understand it. I never have been able to really understand why they sat there.
Well, I actually know why. So they signed a bad contract. So they signed a contract with D&D Beyond that they could publish 5th edition basically forever. And they couldn't renegotiate it. So what ended up happening is, and this was done back when no one cared. Like they thought, who cares about D&D Beyond? They got a piece and everything, but the contract was basically, we can publish 5th edition forever on D&D Beyond under these terms.
Okay.
And then WotC went to D&D Beyond and asked to buy it because they realized, crap, they own it. And then they said, no, we're not going to sell because why would we?
Why would you?
And then they said, okay, well, we're going to make a new edition of D&D because then we're not going to sell you the rights because they only had the rights
So
to
it
fifth
really
edition.
was D&D Beyond that was the driver of that.
Yes.
I had heard whispers about that,
Yeah.
but I never really understood that. Okay, I get
So
it.
that's what happened. So then they said to them, okay, we're going to make 6th edition and you will not have the rights to that. So do you want to sell to us now? And then they said yes. And in their mind, they were like, okay, is it cheaper to make a 6th edition and then build a D&D Beyond? But the problem is, D&D Beyond still has access to 5th edition. So it would actually be a nightmare because you would have D&D Beyond that is up and running. It would be like Coke and old. It would be like original Coke and new Coke and old Coke,
which was an inordinate mistake.
Right.
New Coke was an inordinate mistake.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's basically the same thing. So they would have had 5th edition D&D Beyond and then 6th edition D&D Beyond owned by Hawati at the exact same time, and that would have been the sister. So they had to buy it to kill it and make sure they controlled it. So then they bought it, which they did. It was 148 million.
150 million.
Yeah, and then so they bought it. But then now they're stuck. And I had the show about this last week that this is the last edition of D&D ever. We will never see another edition ever because now they're a software company. Because it's so hard to update D&D Beyond. They're having trouble even doing it for 5th, for 5.5. If they make a 6th edition, they're going to have to...
You have to build it from the ground up.
They'll have to not only just build it from the ground up. Think about it. They have to finish the game. And you know me. You know how this works. They're never going to finish. They'll have to finish the game, which will take like 3 years. And then after the game is completely done, then they have to build the D&D Beyond, which will take another 2 years or 1 or 2 years to finish. So they don't work that way. The way they work is the games are literally done up to the last second, like up to like right before the books are going to the printer. They're still changing things. So there's no way they're going to finish the game and have it set, and then they're going to build it. So we're done. This is it. I guarantee we're never going to see another version. We'll see small changes.
Things that can sell books, but not...
Yeah.
Right.
And they're going to get better. They're adding a new class. They said they're adding a new spell system this year. Like, it's going to be like, it'll be like any video game. Like, it would literally be a video game model where if you have like a World of Warcraft or you have, like any team shooter where just update it slightly year after year. But the thing is, it can change because in 10 years from now, I bet you D&D is going to look very different, but the core rules will be the same. They might just have a lot more around the core rules. It's like Magic the Gathering, same thing. Like,
but that's why they bought it. They really bought it for Magic because Magic was so ridiculous. Right? And Magic, D&D was sort of a throw-in almost, right? It was almost...
when they bought it, they didn't even they didn't even care. They only bought it for Magic. Hasbro, because D&D, they didn't even know what to do with it. I mean, they just sort of let it die. And then if you remember, the real dirt is that at one point when 5th edition was being made, they only had one full-time employee.
I remember the story, yes.
Yeah, they only had one full-time employee on the D&D team, and that's it. In fact, that's why the D&D, the Dungeon Master's Guide is so bad, because James Wyatt wrote half of it, and then he was reassigned to the Magic team. And then it was the second half was written by like 10 people or 20 people. It's just written by random people just to finish it. And that's why you read it. It feels like 20 people wrote because 20 people did write it. He only wrote half of it. And that's why it's such a mess. Surprisingly still not bad. Once you realize that it's written by 20 people, it actually reads better because it feels like you're like, what's going on? They're all over the place in this book. But then you realize, oh yeah, this is why.
Contribution.
Yeah, but they didn't talk about that. So, and then everything was outsourced. Like, remember, Cobalt did all the Avengers. Like, everything was outsourced. I remember I would talk to people. It's like, at Paizo, it's like their team there was like 5 people at one point when 5th edition came out. They just did it because they didn't want to lose the IP. And then it blew up, and then Stranger Things and this and the other. Oh, man, we need to, like, turn this into something. And,
and the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah, the rest
all right, we got to
history.
go. But last thing, what's your favorite thing so far at Gary Con?
I don't know. This is my first Gary Con. You know what I liked is that every game I've been in has been good. It's been very good. I've actually never had this issue before. I've never had this happen. Like when I go to Gen Con and all these other things, the games can be okay.
Sometimes you get not great games.
Yeah, not great games sometimes. Or you get not great players. But everyone here is so hardcore. I've not been in one bad game.
Yeah, all right.
I'm like, everyone's like really good. Like everyone's like, I was like, okay, I guess you got to be a little nuts to come here.
There's a lot of old school in there.
And there's so many old school. But I was like, wow, everyone here is a good player, and everyone here is having fun. I haven't had a single bad game yet, which is kind of amazing.
All right, plug your stream. Go.
Oh yeah, just go to Roll for Combat.
Roll for Combat.
Yeah, or
that
just
is
go to
not roll for
battlesuit.com.
chicken. That's roll for
I
combat.
don't think anyone's ever said roll.
There's roll for sandwich, right? There's a roll for sandwich, right? A roll for sandwich. You didn't know about that?
No.
Oh, I'd have to introduce you one of these days.
No, I don't even know there was such a thing. No,
Roll for Combat.
And every Wednesday, 3:00 Eastern, we have a live show. We're going to have Kelsey Dion this week.
Marvelous.
And talking all about her Shadow Dark.
I'm very happy.
And then we'll have this guy on one
of these days.
One
Yes. All right, we'll let him go.
Okay.
And you, thank you for
Yes.
taking the time this
Yeah,
morning.
it was
sir.
good. I actually have a game at 12.
You go get him, and I'm going to go say goodbye, and you have a wonderful rest
Yeah,
of the day.
you too.
All right. My friends,
Which channel?
we're
Roll
gonna-
for Combat.
Roll for Combat.
Just
Do not
look it up
forget
on
that.
YouTube.
Yes,
Go to
YouTube. Yes.
Roll,
Go.
it's youtube.rollforcombat.com. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. And normally Mandy would put it in the chat. Oh, and my phone is going off telling
There
me
you
it's
go.
time to stop
There
the.
you go. It's time to stop.
My friends. Okay, I don't know if he probably doesn't know this, so I'm just going to do it myself. Is that
Sure.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
May all your adventures be sticky. Ha ha. Come on, that's a good one.
Sticky. That's pretty good. I like that. What we always say.